Hello everyone, Lytro Storm here, and today I'm bringing you guys a very special video. This is What If Harry Became Spider-Man? No Way Home edition. So, if you haven't already seen my What If Harry Became Spider-Man series, the link to it will be in the description and comment section. It'll be very important to this video for obvious reasons, so make sure you've watched it. Now some of you might be wondering, wait, you had multiple endings of that series, so which one will be canon here? And will Harry replace Tobey, or will he just be another Spider-Man there? These are all great questions. I've decided to make this video cover multiple ways on how to do the story, just as a bonus for you guys. Because realistically, not much is going to change besides interactions, so I figured I'd do that to add more. And plus, I've kept you guys waiting for so long. I teased this a while ago because I thought it would be really cool when No Way Home released, but I just haven't had the time to work on it. And I can tell that some of you guys are really big fans of the series I made because, even I'm a big fan. I really liked what I did there. It was one of my passion projects for years. But anyway, I know someone's gonna be like, but if Harry is Spider-Man, then they don't know Peter is Spider-Man, so they can't be in the movie. And to that I say,
we do not care.
This video's for fun, so don't take it too seriously. But with that, I feel like I've gone on long enough, so let's get into the video now. So the first one we're going with is based on our ending where Harry Spider-Man survived Spider-Man 3. Here, he's gonna replace Tobey, which also means the Raimi villains are gonna think Harry is Spider-Man. So basically just think of all the Raimi villains showing up, they're all from the Harry Spider-Man timeline. So basically in this universe, when Sam Raimi made the movies, Harry was Spider-Man, and so that's why he's coming in. Just think of it like that. So let's dive in and see what changes. Firstly, Doc Ock obviously wouldn't say hello Peter, he'd say hello Harry, to which Peter would be surprised and say, wait, who? But Doc Ock would soon attack Peter, and they have the same fight they do in the original movie. At the end of their fight, when Spider-Man's mask gets taken off, Doc Ock would say, "You're not Harry Osborn." Of course, Peter agrees that he isn't, and he doesn't even know who that is. Peter is then able to use the nanotechnology to defeat Otto before the Green Goblin arrives. They have a brief scuffle before Doctor Strange gets Peter and Otto out of there. Peter tells Strange that Doc Ock thought he was someone else, and Strange is unsurprised. It's not very shocking that other universes have different Spider-Men in them. Doctor Strange then sends Peter out to go catch Electro after teaming up with Ned and MJ. The initial encounter with Electro doesn't change at all, but when Sandman shows up, he would say, "Harry, it's me, Flint Marko, from Spider-Man 3. Peter frantically says that he doesn't know who either of the people he just named are, and Sandman asks if he remembers. Spider-Man simply replies that he can't think about all this right now, so he requests Sandman's help in defeating Electro. The two succeed, and Peter talks with Flint afterward, saying that he is Peter Parker. Flint is befuddled by this fact, and says that Peter Parker died, and that Harry Osborn is supposed to be Spider-Man. Peter tells him that he's from a different universe, and that they're in his universe now. He then captures Electro and Sandman before returning to the Sanctum Sanctorum. After that, they meet Norman Osborn, and that goes basically the same as it does canonically, just with him realizing that Peter is Spider-Man in this world. From there, we don't see any changes to the story until after Aunt May is killed. Ned still opens up a portal that lets Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in though, and then he tries to bring in Peter again. But it isn't their Peter. In fact, it isn't Peter at all. Harry Osborn walks through the portal, saying hey to them. Ned thinks that it's just some random guy, but Harry assures them that he's not. He looks over to Andrew, seeing his suit, and is surprised. That's not your friend, is it? Andrew says that he is just as shocked as he is, and the two get into a brief scuffle like Andrew and Tobey did in the movie. At the end, they can tell that both of them are Spider-Man in another universe, and Ned is shocked.
So there are 3 Peters?
Harry steps forward. Yeah, I guess there are, but I'm not one of them. This surprises them even more, and he reveals that his name is Harry Osborn. Andrew takes notice of this, and the memories start to flow through his head of his Harry, the good times and the bad. Harry continues by saying that his best friend was Peter Parker, but he wasn't Spider-Man. He died trying to help save their MJ. Andrew steps forward by saying that Harry became the Green Goblin and did horrible things in his universe. Harry's only response to this is that his father was the Green Goblin in his world, and Peter also became something kind of like that. Everyone just kind of takes this all in before Harry and Andrew feel a disturbance with their spider sense. They can tell that this universe's Peter needs their help, and so they track him down with the help of MJ and Ned and try to talk to him. Of course, he isn't very receptive, but Harry and Andrew give their best attempt to try and save him from going down a dark path. Andrew's Peter knows that he went down a road of anger, and he doesn't want this version of himself to do the same. And Harry's Peter was his best friend, and went down a path that ended up getting him killed and hurting everyone. He doesn't want that for this Peter either. When they talk about the Uncle Ben speech, Harry wouldn't really be able to chime in since he never heard it, which is kind of sad. Harry does offer some other interesting stuff though. Look, if I know Peter, I know Aunt May was one of the people he cared most for, second only to MJ. So you've got to help us stop this the right way. Otherwise, you might lose her too. Peter is a bit upset by this, but eventually does come around. And so the three work together to come up with a cure for all the bad guys. Here, Harry reveals the information that the Green Goblin is his dad to Tom's Peter, among some other things that Tobey showed in the movie. By the end, we get to the final fight on the Statue of Liberty where not too much has really changed aside from dialogue and some interactions. First, the scene where Andrew cracks Tobey's back doesn't take place here. In place of it, I think we'd see Harry mention his back problems, and Andrew offers to crack it for him, but Harry denies the offer, only for Andrew to insist and walk up to him, attempting to pop his back anyway. However, Harry elbows him, with Andrew yelling due to the strength of Harry's armored suit. Tom's Peter tells Harry to chill out and that he was just trying to be nice, but Harry replies, "I can pop my own back."
He humiliated me by touching me.
Both Peters back off a little and then kinda nerd out over Harry's advanced suit, which he is very proud of. But getting to the fights, first when Harry faces the Lizard, he would be able to match him better than Tobey did in the movie. However, he isn't able to defeat him due to the bad coordination of the Spider-Man team initially. He later battles Sandman, attempting to call his glider so that he can get some pumpkin bombs, but his glider doesn't come to him on this Earth, so he is forced to fight Sandman the normal way. He does still manage to cure him though, so that's good. After that, he and the others fight Electro, which leads to his suit being powered down a little since he uses more tech. Doc Ock helps save him from Electro, and the two don't really have a good conversation like Otto did with Tobey. Instead, they just exchange a serious look and nod to each other, symbolizing that they get each other and they understand what's going on, and also showing their appreciation for each other. Harry gets back to fighting again, and at the end, Peter is about to kill Green Goblin when Harry jumps in the way and catches the glider. Peter doesn't really feel as strongly for Harry as he did for Tobey since it's not him, so he tells him to move as he continues pushing the glider. He begins to overpower Harry as both Harry and his suit were weakened from Electro's blasts, but he tries to remind Peter of his morality. Don't be like him. He took your aunt, Peter, I get it, but he's my father. Don't take him away from me. Not when we're this close. Peter would start to relent a little bit, but Norman would stab Harry in his side, cracking his suit, but not dealing nearly as much damage because of the armor. Peter then takes the serum and injects it into Norman, returning him to normal, and once he's in his right mind, he looks over to Harry, seeing him on the ground.
What have I done? Harry, my son, I'm so sorry. I swear on my life I will do whatever I can to fix the pain I've caused.
Harry forgives him and says that when they send him back, he hopes that he'll make his change worth it. And with that, Harry is helped up by Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Andrew and Peter then share a nice moment with Harry before Peter leaves to cast the spell from Doctor Strange. From there, everything else goes the exact same, with all the out-of-universe people going back to their worlds and everyone forgetting Peter Parker. So now that we've covered the events of the first ending of Spider-Man 3's effects on No Way Home, we can cover the second one. This is the one where Harry dies and Peter survives, going on to try and become a new hero to keep the legacy of Spider-Man alive. Now, this would be a Peter that doesn't have the Spider-Bite amp, but does have the Goblin serum, so he's about the same strength-wise. After the events of Spider-Man 3, he would try to patch up his relationship with MJ with mild success. But he'd also work with Bernard to try and make himself a hero, which I think would lead to him making non-organic webs. He would also take after Harry and Norman, seeing as he used the Green Goblin gear in Spider-Man 3, and would basically become the Hobgoblin, but not as a bad guy. We actually do see something kind of like this in the Spider-Verse comics, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna call his hero name the Spider-Goblin to honor Harry while still keeping true to his past sins. and refusing to let himself forget. But anyway, we need to get what happens in No Way Home with this kind of Tobey. So basically, all the stuff I said in the last one with all the villains thinking Spider-Man is Harry still happens. The first unique change comes in when Ned opens the portal, letting this Tobey into his home. He has the same kind of interaction with everyone that he does in the original movie, and even the same scuffle with Andrew. Due to him having inorganic webs, it would still seem like he's Spider-Man in his universe. But he mentions to them that he was surprised to see billboards in the city that said Peter Parker is Spider-Man, as he wasn't in his world. Harry was. Andrew's Peter then says that Harry was his friend before he became the Green Goblin, to which Peter tells him that Harry's father was the Goblin in his universe. And he kinda was as well, it's kinda weird. From there, Andrew was like,
"Oh, okay. Wait, what?"
He is unsure if this Peter Parker is a good guy or not, especially after hearing that the Spider-Man in his universe died. He starts to question things a bit. Tobey explains that he knows how it sounds, but Harry was his best friend. Sure, they were at odds, but he gave up his life to help them both win a fight. And since then, he's been taking up the mantle as the hero. Andrew accepts this, and they go off to find this universe's Peter. They eventually do, and convince him to join up, with both of them sharing how giving into their anger affected them negatively. Tobey tells him that what he had done directly led to him and MJ splitting up, and what's worse, the death of the real Spider-Man, his best friend, Harry. He even mentions that he still hasn't gotten over the guilt, and that now his life is dedicated to making up for his past sins. But this Peter does not have to go down that same road that he and Andrew's Peter did. Tom's Peter has no past sins, so there's still hope that he won't live his life for redemption, and instead can be the best Spider-Man there's ever been. They are able to convince Peter to join up with them and make cures for the villains. When creating the antidote for the Green Goblin, Tobey's Peter would mention that this could also be a cure for himself. After all, he had gotten the same serum on himself that Norman used. This is another thing that just kind of gives everyone around a weird vibe, which is fitting for a Spider-Goblin type character, I think. Tobey goes on to say that he still hasn't fully gotten over the way the Goblin formula kind of exacerbates some of his flaws. He doesn't get taken over or anything. It just makes him a bit more unhinged, which has its own part to play in why he hasn't found the relationship he wants with Mary Jane. The gang suggests that he could maybe use the antidote after this fight, but Tobey says he probably won't, as his world still needs a hero. So he will have to bear the burden in order to fix what he caused. They then move on from that with no organic web scenes, since this version of Tobey made the webs as well. By the time we get to the Statue of Liberty, most of the events in this version kind of line up with the canon version's events. The only real change is that Tobey has a different suit. He will also be getting pretty increasingly angry as he fights the villains until he is attacked by Electro. When Doc Ock saves him and tries talking to him, he finds a bit of peace in seeing his old mentor. This causes him to chill out a bit, and so just about everything from that point goes the exact same in the movie. The Green Goblin comes flying in, dropping pumpkin bombs onto the area. The heroes barely dodge, with some of them being injured. But the Goblin looks down onto Goblin Peter.
"I recognize that armor. You mean to make a mockery of what I've built? Well, there's only room for one."
Green Goblin swoops down on his glider to attack Peter, and the two clash until Tom's Peter shows up and takes the fight away. From there, the fight goes basically the same as it did canonically, with Goblin Peter reluctantly stopping Tom from killing Norman. This causes Green Goblin to have a distraction to stab Tobey in the back and laugh as he drops to the ground.
I don't have time for knockoffs. This is between me and the spider.
Spider-Man and Green Goblin have one final confrontation before Peter sticks Norman with the anti-serum. After this, Norman would see Tobey in his armor similar to his own. But this time, as he looks down on him, he has a different set of eyes.
Harry, what happened to him?
Goblin Peter says that Harry died because of his own actions while he was under the influence of the Goblin serum. This causes Norman to feel immense regret.
Oh, Peter, how did I ever let you become this way? I hope you can be free of that serum before it's too late.
Tobey's Peter would think on these words a bit, and we continue on with the movie. After the film is finished, there is a post-credit scene with the Spider-Goblin Peter in his own world. He's sitting in the lab of the Osborn's home where he goes to make things with the approval of Bernard. He sits back and sighs as he picks up a vial that says Fixed Cure. He enters the chamber where Norman became the Green Goblin and gets covered in green gas. After it's done, he steps out, feeling a little woozy, but looks down at his body to see that it's just as muscular as before. He then smiles a genuine smile, and his laughter is happy. Grabbing his phone, swiping over to Mary Jane, and clicking the call button. And that's the end of that post-credit scene. And with that, we can now move on to the grand finale. This one will include both endings of my Spider-Man Harry series and the original Tobey Maguire. So let's get into it now. So for this one, we'll say that the villains are from the original Raimi movie, so they all think Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I guess in this version, the writers of No Way Home just loved my Harry series so much that they made it a canon alternate universe. But you know, I mean, Into the Spider-Verse, you still got time to work Harry Spider-Man into the sequel for the second part, so you know, feel free. But anyway, everything goes just about identically to the original film, with both Andrew and Tobey walking through the portal into Ned's house. But this time, Tobey and Andrew don't feel that connection to Tom's Peter just yet. So Ned tries to open up another portal to summon Peter. This time, it summons Harry Osborn's Spider-Man, much to Tobey's surprise. He runs in to hug his old friend, believing him to be the same one from his timeline, and Harry embraces, thinking the same of Peter. This is because neither of them are currently wearing their suits, so they can't tell that each other are Spider-Man. The two are both very happy to see each other after years of them being dead. After Tobey's Peter says Harry's name, Andrew's Peter would get defensive.
Harry?
Yeah, Harry Osborn, my best friend.
Like Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin?
Yeah, kind of. More like the new Goblin, but wait, what are you talking about? Harry interjects. Come on, you were chasing me around the city trying to kill me, but you hit your head on a pipe.
Wait, so this guy isn't Peter?
Ned asks.
So he's not Spider-Man either, right?
I am Spider-Man. In my world, at least. But how can that be? I'm Spider-Man in our world. No, I don't think we're from the same world, Peter. You tried to kill me at first, but you died helping me save MJ. Yeah, same for you.
Wait, but you guys recognize each other. You don't recognize anyone else here.
So maybe we're in the same universe, but different timelines. Everyone goes silent before the two Peters lose their mind a little over this revelation. Well, either way, it's good to see you again, even if you're not exactly my Peter. Andrew's Peter moves his hands to gesture over to Ned.
Hey, open another one. I wonder if I'll get someone that I know.
Ned opens up another portal using the sling ring, and out walks another Tobey? Nope, this one is the Peter that survived in What If Harry Became Spider-Man. He looks at Harry and says his name before running up to hug him. He then turns to see himself. Him and the main Tobey look almost the exact same.
You guys try to kill each other, but you're still friends.
I mean, yeah, I made my mistakes, but we worked together and I saw what I had done was wrong.
Dang, that's really cool. I mean, my Harry took everything from me, and he's in prison, so...
Tobey then feels Tom Holland's Peter under stress, and so the four of them go after him with the help of MJ and Ned. They end up catching up to him, and all four of the Spider-Mans work together to convince Tom's Peter to help them make the cures. From there, we get a bunch of scenes that are either from the main movie or from the two versions I've already talked about. Except we'd probably see the Tobeys and Harry discuss past events in their history with each other as well. Anyway, we get to the final fight, and all five of them would be working together as a team, which would just be awesome to see. Like, what we saw already is already cool enough, but just adding in all that is just way more. And with so much extra help, they'd be able to easily handle the villains much easier and just take them out one by one. Doc Ock would show up to save the two Tobeys from Electro while the rest battle the others. Otto would be kind of tripped out seeing two Peters that he recognizes as well as two other Peters and Harry, but it's a nice moment nonetheless. At the end, all of the villains would be stopped except for Green Goblin, who Tom's Peter fights himself. He ends up winning and tries to kill him as well, but is stopped by both Tobeys, with Harry landing behind him. He tells Peter to stop, and he puts down the glider before Green Goblin stabs Goblin Tobey. Harry then tosses the cure to Tom's Peter, who injects it into Norman and reverts him to normal. After that, Peter says goodbye to all these different versions of Spider-Man, and the rest of the movie plays out the same way canonically. We get the same post-credit scene for Goblin Peter, and that wraps up the film. So with all those different versions of the story in one video, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. This will be the finale of the Harry Spider-Man saga, at least for a long time. I'm not sure what else I could really do for his story anymore going forward. I guess an option would be to write Spider-Man 4 and then cover that in my what if, but that would be a big task, so I probably won't. But I mean, if you guys are really into this, like you guys seem to be with the past series, then maybe I'll consider it one day in the future. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your support on this series. It really was my dream to make it for so long, and it's so cool to see you guys hyped that I'm doing a No Way Home version, and I hope it met your expectations. But as always, tell me if you like this series, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.